Fox News Alert, 9 a.m. Eastern on this Thanksgiving morning. President Trump set to speak with members of the military on this Thanksgiving. Members of the military all across the world, obviously in harm's way. The president will have a little bit of time on the video conference to thank them. We should get that video in as it happens. We will, of course, bring it to you as it happens. President Trump and his family down. President Donald Trump and his family spending the Thanksgiving holiday at Mar-a-Lago in Florida on Palm Beach. And it will not be all turkey and football, although we hear there is that on the agenda today. The administration says the president will be hard at work on the phones, pressing ahead on, you got it, tax reform. Remember, he set a Christmas deadline for that. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours at home. Happy Thanksgiving. Great to be with you.
Thanksgiving.
Thankful for such a wonderful co-anchor. I'm Leland Vittert, inside America's Newsroom.
And I'm Arthel Neville. Bill and Sandra are off. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. President Trump taking to Twitter this morning with a Thanksgiving message, touting progress made in his first year in office. And Phil Keating is live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Phil, so the president appears to be quite thankful this morning. Do tell.
Yes, he's thankful for the military and their service. He's also thankful for the state of the nation and his family. And he's especially thankful for the existence of Twitter. For the second straight morning at his Mar-a-Lago oceanfront estate, the president on his extended Thanksgiving holiday with his family hitting the Twitter at about sunrise. The most recent one said, "Make America great again," quite simply. But the big one about Thanksgiving said this, quote, "Happy Thanksgiving. Your country is starting to do very well. Jobs coming back, highest stock market ever, military getting really strong. We will build the wall. VA taking care of our vets. Great Supreme Court justice. Record cut in regs. Lowest unemployment in 17 years. Clearly, the president hitting on few of his successes over this first year of his administration. The administration, as well as the press office, said this working vacation, as they call it, will be more about governing, less about golfing. And for the president, that means a whole lot of working the phones, in particular talking with senators, Republican senators, perhaps some Democratic senators, trying to get a majority to pass that big Senate tax cut and tax reform bill. You know, it's already passed in the House, and then it would have to go to a conference committee to come out with an agreeable joint bill. And then the president, of course, would just love to sign that into law before year's end. That would be a major campaign accomplishment. Leland?
I'll take it here. I'll take it, Phil. Say, what do you think about Twitter going to 480 characters? Anyway, we move on now. We are expecting a presidential Thanksgiving message to the nation, aren't we?
We are. Last year, as President-elect Donald Trump put out a video message on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So since he hasn't done it yet, we expect that will happen today. It was indicated by Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the press secretary, that it was probably going to be happening this week. So last year, the president was, like I said, the president-elect, and it was a very divisive year on the campaign trail between President Trump and Hillary Clinton, and the president at the time last November calling for the country to come together. Well, the year really hasn't panned out as great as that. Another person who's being quite thankful on this Thanksgiving Day is former Supreme Court Justice of Alabama, Roy Moore, who is, of course, the Republican candidate under a sexual harassment scandal going on here dating back 40 years in Alabama for the special election seat December 12th to replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He's thankful because of the president's near endorsement, or non-endorsement, however you want to view it, on Tuesday at Marine One before flying from D.C. down here. President Trump said that basically having the Republican is better for a vote for the tax cut bill. And he also said that Doug Jones, the former U.S. attorney and Democrat in the race, was bad on crime, bad on the border, bad on the military. Jones, for his behalf, yesterday putting out a brand new campaign ad with several of the alleged victims, who were all teenagers at the time. They say Roy Moore tried to approach them in a very inappropriate way. So a lot of developments here today. It's Thanksgiving. The weather's absolutely splendidly gorgeous. Could rain this afternoon, but to my favorite Arthel Neville and Leland Vittert, Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Mr. Phil. We love you as well. And meanwhile, there is a new scandal rocking Capitol Hill. The Washington Post reporting that Congressman Joe Barton of Texas sent sexually explicit photos, videos, and messages to a woman and threatened that he would report her to Capitol Police if she went public. Claudia Cowan is live in Los Angeles, and there is more behind the headlines on this one, right, Claudia?
That's right, Arthel. Good morning to you and also happy Thanksgiving. That's right, another day, another lawmaker accused of inappropriate sexual behavior. In this case, as you mentioned, we're talking about Congressman Joe Barton of Texas, longtime congressman from the north part of that state. Early yesterday, Barton apologized after a nude photo of him circulated on social media. It appeared on an anonymous Twitter account along with a lewd text message. The Washington Post then published an article stating an anonymous woman shared with them other images and videos that Barton sent her years prior. The woman, who has not been identified, also played a recording of a phone conversation she had with Barton back in 2015. The Post said that recording captures the 68-year-old North Texas Republican warning her against using the materials in a way that would hurt his long political career. In a statement to the Post, Barton himself said that a transcript of the recording may be evidence of a potential crime against him. One legal observer explains. Listen.
Let's say he shared this with a person. If that person provided that image unedited to a third person who then posted it on the internet, that act of sharing that image unedited would constitute a violation of the Texas revenge porn laws.
Congressman Barton went on to add, quote, "As the transcript reflects, I offered to take the matter to the Capitol Hill Police to open an investigation. Today, the Capitol Police reached out to me and offered to launch an investigation, and I have accepted. Because of the pending investigation, we will have no further comment." So, Arthel, this could be a very rare case where the man accused of bad behavior and making threats ends up pursuing legal action, claiming he is the victim. We'll be following this one.
Okay, Claudia Cowan, thank you. Leland?
Two more women are now accusing Minnesota Senator Al Franken of inappropriate touching, bringing the total number of accusers now to 4. Meanwhile, as Phil Keating talked about, Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore is again denying claims he tried to engage in sexual relationships with underage girls, despite, as the last count had it, 8 women coming forward about this. Joining us now, Sarah Westwood, White House correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Happy Thanksgiving, Sarah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And what a wholesome topic we have to talk about today. And that's sort of where we begin in this. Does Congress risk losing any moral credibility, however minor it might have been, that they had if they continue to protect their own on this?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much moral credibility Congress had to begin with, but
Fair.
Certainly if they allow lawmakers who have been accused by multiple women of sexual misconduct, including while they were in office, as is the case with Senator Franken, and they don't call for a resignation or even open an official ethics investigation. Remember, Leland, Senator Franken has called for an ethics investigation into himself, but that hasn't actually progressed forward yet, even though we're at 4 women now.
Yeah, but there's hundreds of ethics investigations, and very rarely, if ever, do they actually result in anything. What is the backstory on this? Are members unwilling to go ahead and say things about the other members? And with that, we're going to interrupt you, Sarah, and bring in President Trump, who's talking to the troops from Mar-a-Lago. We're getting that video coming in right there. And now the president.
Defend freedom. So we want to thank you all very much. Very, very special people. It doesn't get more special. Representing the Army, we have the 1st Brigade Combat Team of the 82nd Airborne, who are conducting operations in Kandahar, Afghanistan, in support of Operation Freedom's Sentinel. Colonel Toby, and where is Toby? Raise your hand, Toby. Where's Toby? Thank you, Toby. I hear so many good things about you, Toby. That's good news. But Toby Magsic, happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and I have to say just directly to the folks in Afghanistan, everybody's talking about the progress you've made in the last few months since I opened it up. We opened it up, we said, go ahead, we're going to fight to win. We're not fighting anymore to just walk around, we're fighting to win. And you people are really, you've turned it around over the last 3 to 4 months like nobody's seen, and they are talking about it. So thank you very much, brave, incredible fighters. Direct Support Team Gulf of the Marine Corps Special Operations is also on the line. These great Marines are operating in Iraq in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. Major Jonathan Rigline is the commanding officer. Semper Fi. Semper Fi. I have a great Marine who's the Chief of Staff. As you know, John Kelly is doing an incredible job, just like any Marine would. And Major, to you and to all the Marines doing this great work in delivering defeat after defeat to ISIS. What you're doing with ISIS is, again, being talked about. We're being talked about again as an armed forces. We're really winning. We know how to win. But we have to let you win. They weren't letting you win before. They were letting you play even. We're letting you win. I also want to say hello to Captain Dave Stoner and all of the sailors aboard the USS Monterey, sailing in support of both the 6th and 5th Fleets. The Monterey's primary missions include ballistic missile defense, anti-air warfare, anti-surface warfare, and anti-submarine warfare. Thank you to everyone aboard the USS Monterey for your dedication. Thank you very much. We're also joined by the 74th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron from Incirlik Air Base. Lieutenant Colonel Craig Morrish, your squadron has done a tremendous job, tremendous, and we appreciate it. The fight against ISIS, it's coming our way. It's coming our way. Big, big difference. A lot of things have happened. They say we've made more progress against ISIS than they did in years of the previous administration. And that's because I'm letting you do your job. You're performing more than 1,000 missions over the skies of Iraq and Syria in the last 4 months. We're very, very proud of you. Believe me, everybody in this country is watching, and they're seeing positive reports for a change instead of the neutral and negative reports. It's all positive. To the Coasties aboard the Cutter Wrangel, welcome and happy Thanksgiving. Lieutenant Ryan Hudson, you and the entire crew aboard the Wrangel are doing incredible work in the Arabian Gulf, performing theater security, defense operations, and maritime infrastructure protection. Thank you very much for your service. Very important area. For each of you, I know it's hard to be away from home at this time of the year. We're doing well at home. The economy is doing really great. When you come back, you're going to see with the jobs and companies coming back into our country, and the stock market just hit a record high. Unemployment's the lowest it's been in 17 years. So you're fighting for something real. You're fighting for something good. A lot of things have happened with our country over the last very short period of time, and they're really good. They're really good. I especially like saying that companies are starting to come back. Now we're working on tax cuts, big, fat, beautiful tax cuts. And hopefully we'll get that, and then you're going to really see things happen. So as we give thanks for this holiday, I know I speak on behalf of all Americans when I say that we totally support you. In fact, we love you. We really do. We love you. And this is a Thanksgiving that you won't forget, because you're in a very different part of the world than you were used to, but boy, are you doing a job there. And thank God for you. Thank God for you. We also want to give thanks to our loved ones, our amazing military families. I know they miss you, and they miss you so deeply and so badly there. Every bit as important as everyone else you work with, because they put up with so much. They put up with the time away and all of those things that they have to endure, and they endure it because they love our country and because they love you. And believe me, I know so much about military families. They respect and appreciate what you're doing for this country, and they respect and appreciate what you're doing for them as a family. So your families love you, and they miss you. And again, I'm surrounded by reporters and press, and I'm going to ask them to leave, and we're going to have very confidential, personal conversations. We're set up for that. You know, really wonderful what technology. So I'll ask the press.
All right, so President Trump kicking the press out so he can have a chat with the troops, some in Afghanistan, some in Iraq, also some sailing there in the Arabian Gulf that he talked to in the fighter squadrons at Incirlik Air Force Base. Arthel, it was sort of striking how he had this tone not only of thanks for the troops and what they're doing, but talking about real world, how he feels his orders have changed ground truth for how they carry out the fight, not only against ISIS, but against the Taliban as well.
Yeah, I noticed that too. To your point, Leland, the president saying, we are really winning. We know how to win. We're letting you win. Speaking of the fact that he is giving the commanders on the ground more, having them be more in charge and calling the shots there in real time, as opposed to going through some of the bureaucracy that perhaps may have.
We saw that when the mother of all bombs was dropped in Afghanistan. Bring back now Sarah Westwood, White House correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Sarah, thoughts on this? Unusual for a president to mix a thanks for the troops with the political message and the tax cut message, or fairly normal on a Thanksgiving?
Well, it's certainly not unusual for President Trump. Anytime that he speaks publicly, he likes to have a mix of all types of subjects. He likes to talk off the cuff. Even though you could see that he was reading from a piece of paper, a lot of what he said seemed to be coming off the cuff. It was a mixture of prepared remarks and spontaneous remarks, and it was a classic Trump message to the troops for sure.
We'll bring this back to where our conversation started before the president's video conference, which was the issue of these continued sexual harassment claims in Congress, whether it be against Republicans or Democrats like Al Franken, as more people continue to come out.